There's a lot of naysayers out there not liking this fight, but I love it. I love it. Why? Because I get to see a guy get to the heights of his dreams. Francis Ngannou has been through so much, so this is the American dream playing out. This is what people do. This is why people get into sports and do against the best, compete against the best, coming from nothing and then building yourself into something. So you got to like it off that. And I do think this is a real boxing match. Before I get into that, hit the thumbs up, sub, and notification bell. That we get updated when I drop the news content like this. With that being said, let's get into the breakdown. Look, here's the fact of the matter, how I see it. AJ is the more skilled boxer. He is, without a doubt, he should be. However, what we saw from Francis Ngannou was the ability to switch foot. He'd go southpaw, he'd go traditional. Never missed a beat, never got off step, never got out of rhythm. He's a very good counterpuncher. And in the clinch, he is extremely strong, which he showed against Fury whenever he was manhandling him with ease. So I've said this before and I'll say it again. I respect anybody who can step into a sport and compete with the best. If you can do that, you belong in that sport. And that's what Ngannou did. People could come up with excuses all day long because they don't want to accept what their eyes just showed them. That Tyson Fury wasn't taking it serious, that he didn't really train for the fight, despite everybody around him before, during, and after the fight all said Fury took this serious. So you can come up with all the excuses to make it make sense in your brain that you want, but at the end of the day, the dude's a fighter. He's been fighting his whole life. And while he may not come from a boxing discipline, just because you don't mean that you can't compete. It comes down to the individual, how special you are as a fighter. Ngannou is proving himself thus far to be very special. In his first professional boxing match, winning there, arguably beat the best heavyweight and somebody who's being argued to be an ATG of all heavyweights. So that's crazy. The same guy who stopped Klitschko on his damn near 10-year reign. That's crazy. So, and he stopped Deontay Wilder's 10 title defense reign. And then whenever you see Tyson Fury up there against other top contenders, he beats him easily. So again, I have to say this. Francis Ngannou has showed his worth. Anthony Joshua, he has a lot to lose in this fight, and I think he knows it. So if y'all think he's not going to take it serious if he loses, then y'all are out of y'all's mind. Because if that's what y'all are going to cope with, if he loses, then you're never going to give Francis Ngannou credit. He deserves credit alone by going after two of the best? You got Tyson Fury, number one. Usyk, in my opinion, number two. And then you have AJ right there behind them in number three. Deontay Wilder wasn't there, but off his last performance, it is what it is. So you had this guy fighting the number one guy in boxing, and now he's going after the number three guy in boxing. And he barely came up short against the number one guy in boxing. So why do you think if he barely came up short against the number one, he has no chance against the number three? It just doesn't make sense to me. The difference with AJ versus Tyson Fury, though, is AJ is going to have the power, I believe, to hurt Ngannou. Now, can he be hyper-aggressive against Ngannou? I do not know. AJ is a very good mid-range fighter, but he is going to have a significant disadvantage in reach. So Ngannou is going to be able to tag him at mid-range, at distance, and up close. Don't let Ngannou grab you and beat you up in the clinch, because that's where he will excel. I think they need to work on more what they call dirty boxing. All that is when you hold, you hit. It's nothing illegal. It's nothing dirty about it. It's just called dirty boxing, fighting in the clinch. They need to incorporate that more with Francis Ngannou because he's very strong, very big, and he can hold and hit. And he's very good at wrestling because that's his discipline. So again, I think this is a real fight. It's a fight that AJ should win on paper, but do not sleep on Francis Ngannou. If Ngannou hits AJ like he did Tyson Fury in that third round, does AJ get back up? We don't know. AJ got dropped against Andy Ruiz. He got up 3-4 times. He got up every time. So the fact that he doesn't have a chin, I don't agree with. The fact that he doesn't have heart, I don't agree with. I just feel like AJ's worst enemy is himself. He gets in his own mind and he doesn't realize what he is. And I made several videos on it. And he looked mentally broken, but he looks back. He looks repaired. He looks rejuvenated. So if we get the vintage seek and destroy AJ, it should be a very good fight. Now, with AJ, I don't think he's going to be as cautious as Tyson Fury because he does have that power. That Fury, he hits hard. He's a 270-plus pound man. I think he came in against Ngannou at 277. So he definitely hits hard just by size and weight alone and knowing how to throw a punch. But AJ hits much harder. So it's a different dynamic to this fight. AJ, on the flip side, doesn't have the defense of Tyson Fury. So That's going to be interesting to see because AJ doesn't move as good. However, he's very good at counterpunching, and Ngannou also showed great abilities to counterpunch, especially with that hook. Very good lead hooks, whether he was doing the left hook with the left foot forward or the southpaw with the right foot forward, that right hook. Very good at timing off the jab. He was doing it a lot against Tyson Fury. That to me is his biggest asset, that little lean counter hook that he does. So again, I think this is a real fight. I like it. And if Francis Ngannou wins, it doesn't say that boxers can't box. It doesn't say that boxers aren't good. It doesn't say that MMA fighters are better because 99% of MMA fighters get in the boxing ring, they're getting demolished. All it says is how great Francis Ngannou is. And I love to see a guy reach his dreams. I like AJ. I'm not picking a favorite in this fight. I like them both. I am indifferent to who wins. Would I like to see Ngannou win? Yeah. Would I like to see AJ win? Yeah. I would like to see them both win, but they both can't. So I'm not picking sides because I like both guys. I like both stories. I like how AJ has done what you want from a champion. He went on, collected all the belts. Unfortunately, he ran into Usyk and couldn't regain his titles. But again, if the AJ which should have shown up against Wallin would have showed up against Usyk, I think it would have been a completely different fight. That's the AJ that AJ needed to be. He needed to be hyper aggressive. He needed to impose his will, strength, and size on Usyk like he did out of Wallin, but he didn't. He tried to outbox him, which wasn't tactically smart. And then he came in light, whereas in his last 3 fights, he's now got reacclimated to his weight. See, that's the thing about it. When AJ first put that weight back on against Derrick James, the first fight is not really going to be a good gauge of what he's like at a heavier weight because his body hasn't reacclimated to being that big. His body's not used to holding that weight. His body hasn't got the true strength back of that size. Now that he's already had 3 fights, now you're starting to see against Franklin, that was the first fight back. Against Helenius, he got a middle of the fight knockout, I believe the 7th round, if my memory stands correctly. He got a 7th round knockout against Helenius, and then he went out there and just completely annihilated Wallin and had him quit in the corner in, I think, the 5th round. So, again, made him quit in the corner. So that size, that weight, that power that he used to have, he's starting to show it again because his body has reacclimated to his strength. His body is used to being back where it should have always been. He should have never lost the weight when he lost to Andy Ruiz. That was the biggest mistake he ever made, taking that off. And now he's starting to look like himself again. Imagine that. But with that size, you have to understand, while you could not see it in the face-off because of Francis Ngannou's attire, and I think it was planned on purpose so AJ couldn't size him up, he is significantly bigger than AJ, carries a significant amount of more muscle. Now, does that translate to power and strength? Not always, because you can have a guy that doesn't look as big, that's muscular, that can be stronger than the bigger guy, but I think Ngannou's going to be a much stronger man in that ring. So this is a real fight to me. This is not a gimme fight. This is not a BS fight. This is a real fight. On paper, AJ should win this by knockout. But I'm telling you, it's a real fight. And it's not out of the realms of possibility that AJ gets knocked out, stopped, hurt badly, or loses on the scorecards to Francis Ngannou because he has proven his worth against the best. And Tyson Fury, when he gets in there with Usyk, is going to prove to everybody whether he is the best or not. So that's how I see it. I can't wait to see the weigh-ins. Now I'll do a full fight prediction. But I'm telling y'all right now, don't be surprised if this dude shocks the world and beats AJ, because this is a real fight. This is a real fight. Let me know how you feel about this fight in the comment section below.